Welcome back to Appliance Educator. Today I'm going to be talking about brass burners. We've gotten some emails about this and some questions, and I wanted to kind of go over it. It's a cool new feature that seems to be trending right now. Brass burners, bronze, copper. When you're dealing with real metals such as those, they do tend to tarnish and wear out over time. Brass will oxidize. So fresh out of the box, this is what the brass burner will look like, the color. Regardless if you use it or not, oxidization, when it is touching the atmosphere, it'll begin to oxidize, such as this. And so I'll be going through the method of renewing this finish back to its original luster. Some people do appreciate and love the natural look of the brass, but for those that want to bring it back to the way it was, we will show you that in this video. So we have two brass burners here, and we're going to do two different methods to try to polish them and bring them back to the original finish. I used a few different brands, and for the video, we're going to use the one that performed the best, which is Wrights Copper Cream. There'll be a link in the description for it. This seems to work the best, especially with brass. Okay, so I have a container here for my brass burner. I'm not even sure if this will work. I'm just going to try it out and see if it does. If it does, then you can do it yourself. It's going to be, if it does work the way I want it to, it'll be sweet because it's less work. So essentially, I'm just going to put a couple tablespoons in here, mix it with water, and see if it will dissolve in the water, and then fully submerge this. The reason I was thinking this might be water soluble is the second ingredient is citric acid. So if you're making like a vinaigrette for salad dressing, citric acid helps bind the oils and the water together. So we'll see if this works. Okay, I'm just gonna set him aside. So this has a lot of rough surfaces and grooves. This is very ornate brass burner. So I have this guy to help get into all those crevices as well. And I guess we're gonna treat this much like you would polishing a shoe. Just get some cream on your sponge and just liberally apply it. I'm gonna start on the outsides because that'll be a little bit easier. So the goal with this, according to the directions, is to apply it directly onto the brass and then wipe clean with a cloth. And we will of course want to rinse it with water. There's lots of grooves. You can already see that the oxidization is essentially gone from the outside. Almost like one of those infomercials you don't want to believe. So you can already see the outside of it compared to the inside. It's a much darker color, the patina from the oxidization. Now if you have brass burners in a stove, or really any type of appliance that uses brass, if you want to have this look be the way it is, back to the original look, you'll want to maintain it constantly. So it'll be something you'll want to do every couple months. Just because with the brass touching the atmosphere, it will oxidize constantly. It actually works very quick and very well. I don't have to put a ton of elbow grease in here, but it's already brightening up. So the original brass color is a much more brighter, almost pale color compared to the patina, which has a much darker and more rich color to it. Which again, some people like that patina look. Others want to maintain the original aesthetic of the brass. So this has been in there for between 5 to 10 minutes. Hasn't even been that long. The amount of time it took me to polish this one. And it's, so that would be a failure, that experiment. I could probably leave it in there overnight. I'm just not sure about that, if it's even worth it with how quickly this can polish it. I mean, it did somewhat lighten up, but the edges you can see still have their burn marks from when it was used, and that patina oxidization. So I guess that's a no on this, and it's separated, so it wasn't completely soluble. So I wouldn't recommend following that procedure. Again, we used a few different creams just to compare brands. This one by far is the absolute best.